All right, so I just completed the installation of the B&M shifter for the Jeep Wrangler JK. This is for the 6-speed. Big thanks to Auto Edits and his channel. Gave great instructions on how to do this. Now I didn't do the actual precision shifter assembly installation. I just did the handle. So just this guy here, and then I also did the matching transfer case handle as well. I wanted to try this out first because I heard that this alone makes a really big improvement, even though the throws don't get shorter. And I figured, let me try that first. It's easier, much easier, because you don't have to lower the trends or anything like that. And it gets rid of, so the factory handle actually has it where it bolts into the shifter assembly. There's actually a very soft rubber bushing, and that rubber bushing is what gives that really sloppy, wobbly feel. This whole time I had thought it was the transmission itself, but it's really that shifter assembly. Kind of makes sense. I figured, being that this is a Mercedes manual transmission, I didn't think it would feel that sloppy. So that's really what it was. I mean, even though the throws are basically the same as before, maybe a little bit less actually, because I think the handle is a little bit shorter than the old one. But I mean, it just feels so much more direct. There's no, what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't have that like rubbery, sloppy feel. I can actually feel it, or like it almost feels like it's gated now. Really, really happy with this. And the installation, okay, so installing this really wasn't bad. The pain in the ass, believe it or not, was this thing. This was the factory shift knob. Now I know B&M has their own video of it, and I'm sure that handle had come off many times for them to be able to take it off as easily as they did. I mean, first off, just prying this cap off, and I used a plastic pry tool, and I don't know if you can see that because it's not focusing on, there you go. I don't know if you can see that, but I mean, that was pretty chewed up just trying to pry it off with a plastic pry tool. I mean, I didn't really care, but just so you know, even that was not as easy as you might have thought it would have been. And then getting the handle off, geez, I mean, again, their video is like pretty misleading as to how easy it's going to be to come off. I think in Auto Edit's video, he showed that the handle was quite difficult to remove. And I'll tell you, I pulled on it with so many different things, and it just was not coming. I mean, I tried sort of like slap hammering it kind of out, and nothing was working. I mean, I just felt like I was going to damage something inside the transmission. So as kind of my last ditch effort, I took a pair of channel locks. And so after you pop the cover off the bottom of this thing, there's this guy on the bottom. And I just grabbed a pair of channel locks on there, a large pair. And the reason why I did that was because I figured with those channel locks clamped down tight, I could put a lot of torque on this thing to try to rotate it as I was pulling it out. And honestly, that made all the difference in the world. Like, once I was basically pulling on it and really cranking on those channel locks to torque this thing, and it popped out pretty easily at that point. So just keep that in mind. That's probably what you're going to have to do. You might mangle this up a little bit. I mean, actually, this isn't really too bad. I mean, I could use this if I wanted to, but why would I want to do that? So yeah, just keep that in mind. That was the most difficult part of this thing, was getting this off. Taking off the transfer case handle, it's the same idea. There's a similar cap you got to pop off, and then you twist and pull this handle. But that was not really that difficult. I got it off, I had to tug on it a little bit, but it was nothing. You didn't need any special tools, just kind of pulled on it. Then the transfer case handle, again, that installation was super easy as well. The old one, again, I would just refer to Auto Edit's video. It's better than the instructions that you're going to get from a piece of paper. And the side, the piece where the cable connects just pops right off. I just took like a panel removal tool, popped that off. Pin retainer, just pry that off, tap the pin out, and pretty much the old handle comes out just like that. The new one, just keep in mind, depending on what gear you're in or where you selected your transfer case. I had mine in neutral. When it's in neutral, so you see how when you put it into neutral, you kind of have to, well, mine's not going in right now, but when you put it into neutral, you kind of have to have it over. Well, that actually made my installation a little bit more difficult because there's a bar. You'll see it if you get it, but there's a bar that kind of sticks out. It's spring loaded, and so if you have your shifter in neutral, when you try to put the new assembly in, this thing is starting to spring out while the handle is still sticking out because it's spring loaded. But because you're down here, there's a plastic piece in here that's trying to push it in. So just kind of remember what I had to do. Basically, I kind of put it in towards the front, and then I had to like kind of pull it this way to collapse that spring on the handle, and then I was able to just got it right in after that. And then the reassembly was super easy after that. Just pin, snap the cable back on, put the retaining clip on the pin, and that's it. You're good to go. I have to say I really like it. I like the easy reach of this thing. It's really easy to get to. It's in a nice location, so if you need to shift on the fly, I mean, your hand's like right there. So that's pretty neat. Just keep in mind though, it is a cable, so like if your transfer case doesn't want to go, like don't force it. You should never have done that even with the old handle. Just because you have more leverage doesn't mean that you should start using it now. Feel for the car for what it wants to do. If it doesn't want to go in, I see that. There you go. Now it went in. Feel for what the car wants to do, and then don't force it. But it's nice that it does require a lot less force. So that's pretty cool. Other than that, I'm pretty happy with this thing. Some people said that the knob was too small. I don't know. I think it's perfect. I love it. I think it's, and I haven't driven the car yet, but I'm sure I'm going to be really happy with it. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope this is helpful. If anybody has any questions or anything, just let me know. Give me a shout, and I'll try to reply to the video. Take care.